Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Tablet for the deaf. State Minister for Education, Youth and Information, Robert Morgan, presents a tablet to Chanel Grandison of Leicestermere Gibbley High School for the Deaf Maypen Unit. He was participating in the handover of 8 tablets to students of the Clarendon-based institution by First Heritage Corporation, FHC Credit Union Limited, at the entity's Maypen branch office on Monday. Looking at its branch manager, FHC Credit Union Limited Maypen, Norman Williams. Another businessman attacked in downtown Montego Bay. Another businessman was attacked near a bank in downtown Montego Bay in St. James. It is reported that on Thursday morning, the businessman, who is of Chinese descent, was robbed and stabbed in the collarbone. He had earlier conducted business at a financial institution. The incident came 24 hours after a woman, who is also of Chinese descent, was slashed in the face in downtown Montego Bay. It is reported that there have been 5 attacks on members of the community in recent times. This has raised safety concerns among members of the community. 4 of the 5 crimes occurred without any robberies associated with it, a member of the community reported. Members of the community have called for an urgent meeting with Senior Superintendent of Police, Vernon Ellis, the commanding officer for St. James, to discuss their concerns. The crime situation in downtown Montego Bay has caused grave concerns among the business community. Last Tuesday, 42-year-old computer technologist Richard Bell Jr. was robbed and stabbed outside an ATM in Sam Sharp Square. He later died. The attack happened about 11 a.m. His family did not find out about his death until 2 days later because the police were not able to identify his body, and that incident was the second he encountered in weeks. He was robbed while boarding a taxi downtown Montego Bay. Owing to the fact the banks are not collecting large amounts of monies over the counter, we have been forced to use drop-off and ATM machines, which are not safe, a business operator lamented last week. The businessman wants banks to make more ATMs available inside their businesses or to increase the security provided to customers who lined up outside these financial institutions. DRMA breach. Monday evening staging of the St. James Municipal Corporation's annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony and concert saw scores of people demanding to be allowed inside the venue as health and security personnel scrambled to control the swelling crowd. But yesterday, the council in charge of the event hailed it as a success. The ceremony, which was advertised on the SJMC social media pages, was to cater to 50 invited guests and other eager viewers encouraged to join virtually. But those looking to share in the festivities bombarded the gates of the Harmony Beach Park, screaming and shouting to gain access. "One not lock the gate for? How uno fi light Christmas tree and no one fi come watch it?" one angry woman shouted outside the gate. Based on the latest COVID-19 safety protocols announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, physical attendance at any events hosted by public entities must not exceed 50 individuals. However, frustrated security personnel manning the gate in Montego Bay Monday evening quickly lost that battle. A woman who stood by looking at the chaos told reporters that she was frightened by what was taking place. "I don't think that they were prepared for this. A lot of people turned up and there was not enough security in general to manage the crowd that is here," said the woman who requested not to be named. "I was here before people started coming in, and when the crowd started getting bigger, people started getting flustered. Then the police came. When the police came, I observed a high-ranking police official telling them to let in a few more people," she added. The woman continued, "To be honest with you, I saw where the frustration started, but I don't even think the organizers were expecting this, and neither were they prepared at all." One man argued that the municipality should be ashamed of itself for closing the gate of the park and allowing a crowd to build up. He reported that changing the venue of the annual event had caused more harm than good. "It better them did keep it at Sam Sharp Square, because them never have to lock out nobody. Everybody want to enjoy the Christmas tree, and if them never want nobody here, better them did just light the tree and not tell nobody," said the man who asked not to be identified by name. Though acknowledging that there is an ongoing pandemic, the man maintained that the event could be held without the citizens of Montego Bay in the attendance. He lashed out at the organizers for attempting to stage the event virtually. It no make no sense because at the end of the day, the crowd over here same way, so it just no make no sense. May as well everybody enjoy themselves and done, he reported. Yesterday, chairman of the SJMC's Civic and Community Affairs Committee Council, Dwight Crawford, Spring Garden Division Jamaica Labour Party, who organized the event, reported that the corporation did not breach the Disaster Risk Management Act DRMA, as there was no indication that we had more than 500 attendees at the park. We did not have an event where we invited more than 50 people. The rest of the people came to the park to witness the Christmas tree lighting, he added. The park is allowed 500 people and we cornered off an area for our event for 50 persons. Though the event was intended to be mostly virtual, Crawford noted that a lot of curious Montegonians gathered at the gates to support the Christmas tree lighting. The MOH, Ministry of Health, locked the gate, and that is why we had the people them park up at the gate outside. I mean, what do you do? People want to come in, the park has a limit, and we just can't let in anybody else, Crawford noted. He added, it was one problem or the next. Either we let in everybody, so there was no crowd at the gate, or we just listened to the MOH and the police and just locked the gate. Though many event attendees were seen walking around with masks, Crawford argued that proper measures were in place to ensure that COVID-19 containment rules were adhered to. From my observation inside the park, the municipal police were constantly going around, and even the Jamaica Constabulary Force officers were actually insisting that if people do not put on their mask, they would be thrown out of the park. If there were one or two people who notched their mask under their chins, by the time they got to the gate, the municipal police were on their cases, he said. I personally witnessed the superintendent telling a man that if you don't put on your mask, we are putting you right back through the gate, Crawford added. Monday night's event, he said, was a success. There were some kinks here and there, but for the most part, there were no injuries, robberies, or fights. When you have an event like that, where you can find people from all walks of life in one space, I think that is a very good way to measure a very good successful event, he noted. Kiki Talks real-life TV show.
Our guest this week is not new to the media landscape. Kiki is a popular TV host whose personality continues to captivate audiences all over the world, right? She has taken on a new creative venture, though, with her husband, DJ Denver. It's their reality TV series called Real Life, and Kiki is here to tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, Kiki.
Thank you so much, Kingsley. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. No problem. So tell us a little bit about you, Kiki, and Real Life. What is this all about? What's Real Life all about?
Oh my goodness. So for starters, Real Life is in its second season. And essentially we did Real Life. I had wanted to do a show like 7 years ago. Yeah. I always wanted to do a show and just didn't know what exactly I'd be doing, how to go about getting sponsors to do a show. So for 7 years, I was shopping this idea around of this show that I had in mind. And 2 years ago was the first time that we actually got a sponsor on board who saw the vision. And the vision for Real Life is just talk. It was almost like similar to Red Table Talk before Red Table Talk existed. It's just us real. Yeah, it's a real. But listen, ideas are never unique. Like 10 people can have the same ideas. Whoever executes it first and executes it best. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, but everyone has their own flavor. But that's what I had in mind initially. So I know I wanted to have a talk. Hi, my honey. I wanted to have a talk component of it that would just kind of, shed some insight, give people some, just a different way to think and view stuff, as well as I wanted to be able to give back. So the talk component and the bucket list are very important to me because I have to use this platform to be able to assist persons. And then fast forward to 2 years later, now is the perfect time to be giving back because of the current situation that we're in. Yes. So I'm happy that that component was there from the get-go. And essentially, we had a segment called Driven, where Denver would drive around with like celebrities, and it was similar to carpool karaoke, I think, with James Corden. We're vibing, chilling to their music and stuff. And this year, we decided, all right, we can't do that in the car. So let's just do an adventure. Let's just go across the island, highlight some hidden gems, and just highlight our culture and our people, especially during this time. So we just wanted something to feel good, and it just so happens that it just worked out how it did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you You mentioned that Real Life is in its second season. What was season one like? It was new to an audience. You had to figure out your guests. You had to do all of that. So, what was that experience like, and what did you take from that season?
Season one was a little bit, well, a lot different. Some things were just, similar to this season. But season one had a feature that just said called Driven, where we had persons like Danique, Debbie Bissoon, ZJ Sparks, Christopher Johnny Daly. We had, oh my God, Jeffrey Azan, Zachary Harding. Like, it was a stellar cast of persons who were profiled in the vehicle for that driven component. And then on the show itself, where we had the talk component, we had some heavy hitters, too many to mention right now. But again, we had some heavy hitters who were on just shedding light. And we always had like a professional on board to always give like that professional take on whatever we were discussing. So, we're just trying to put a lot in the show so persons could have some really good takeaways.
Okay. So you started off season 2 with Dottie Berry as your guest, your adventure guest. Tell us a little bit about that episode and what we can expect to get out of it, because I know that these episodes are meant for us to take something away from it. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So for Dottie Berry episode, and it wasn't scripted. That's the first thing I need people to know. This was like completely organic, completely genuine. We're just saying, hey, these are the adventures that we're doing. Dottie Berry just shared, hey, we're going to Campbellton. And he said, that's my parish. And it just so happens that we were going to Campbellton Mountain Adventures, which had this swing that was, over like a precipice, essentially, So while we were there, the topic for the day, the theme was trusting the process, not planned at all, right? He did mention to me, he says, I'm afraid of heights, but he's willing to try. And the amazing thing is when we got there, he literally in that moment had to trust the process, because that fear that was on TV, as comedic as it might have been, in that moment was him pushing through something that was horrifying for him. And he pulled himself together, he dug deep, and he says, all right, I'm going to use the competitive nature of me and just know I'm going to push myself. And he did it. So what you were seeing on that show, on that episode, was Dottie Berry literally trusting the process.
What's the general format of the episodes? So
the format is essentially we always start off with the talk component of it, which is where we vibe with the personalities. Yaksta, as you know, Dottie Berry was on, Naomi Cowan, IT Ellis, Dufton Shepherd. We usually have that talk component where we're talking about the show's theme for the day, and then afterwards we move into the raw adventure of it. And then in the end, we have bucket list where we give back, and then we always profile a local company as well, so persons can support our local businesses. And then we have a giveaway at the end of the show.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
There's an added component this year. Is it the Office of the Children's Registry, or is it the Children's Advocate?
Right. So that's been around from the season one. They're actually our main sponsor. And they have an OCA moment. And what they do, and thank you so much for bringing that up, because what they do is they take the show's theme or the topic of the day and make it applicable to parents for their children. So if we're talking about trusting the process, how does that apply to children? How can you teach your child to trust the process? If we're talking about financial wealth, anything at all, they make sure that they tailor make it to parents on how they can make it apply to their children.
Oh, that's so good. So it's wholesome. It's really a full family show.
It is.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. But, this is something that I've always wondered though, Kiki. What's it like working with your husband?
Equal parts fun, equal parts stress, equal parts tension, equal parts getting the job done, equal parts teamwork. That's it. It's never honky-dory. My husband is pretty moody. You know what I mean? He's not necessarily a social butterfly. He wears his emotions on his face. If him now feel it, him just now feel it. And I'm pulling him out of his comfort zone to say, hey, come on, let's go be on TV. Furthermore, let's go engage with people. Furthermore, we're going on the road for an adventure where you're going to have to encounter people, And he doesn't swim. He has a thing that says he can't drown because he can't swim. That means that him not go in the water for drown.
Not go close to water.
Exactly.
Right, him not go close to water. So he can't swim, he can't drown. He's in the water almost every episode this season.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I'm his favorite person right now, but...
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. So, Kiki, how many episodes can we expect this season? And I don't know if you can just sneak peek all the guests that will be there and all of these things?
Right. It's 13 episodes. We just aired our fourth episode last night. And so we have a few more to go. And as I said, we have Yaxter, who is on Dufton Shepherd, IT Ellis, Naomi Cohen, Pepita is also on board. And the next episode we have is going to be deep. And I'm hoping that the viewers will get it, because we have philosophical photographer Lexon Art on. And Lexon be like body of threats. But his the way he views the world is deep. So we that's really our aim. Just use a platform to just enlighten as best as we can while keeping it fun. Because it's heavy times.
Yeah. And when and where can we watch?
All right, so it's every Sunday night at 9 p.m. on TVJ. Our original time was 9:30, but we're now being placed in the 9 p.m. slot. So when that change happens, for us to go to 9:30, I'll publicly post that on social media. But for now, it's 9 o'clock on TVJ every Sunday night, and the rebroadcast Thursday mornings at 11:05 on TVJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry, I was asking about social media or websites or anything like that.
Right. So our handle is at Real Life Jamaica. And the website is also Real Life Jamaica, but the website is still being updated as we're talking, with like the current episodes and stuff. But on Instagram, it's at Real Life Jamaica.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right. This sounds so good. I cannot wait to watch the next episode, because I do like his work. So I'm looking forward to see. I don't know the man behind the images or anything. Amazing. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. And
he is amazing. Like, he really is. And I just want to say good job, guys. Like, I really, really applaud you both. You know what I mean? For doing this, for making this happen. I love young, fresh talent that's representing so well. You know what I mean? I've been in this business for 20 years. And when you see, talent just representing and growing and bringing integrity to what you do, I applaud you. So teamwork.
Thanks so very much, Kiki. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Transitioning to a republic is more than replacing the Queen. We note the various conversations in Jamaica over the past weeks, sparked by Barbados' recent transition away from the British monarchy, Commonwealth into becoming a republic. I am of the view that we in Jamaica have far more pressing issues to focus on at this time. Some will say we can walk and chew gum, but I think that we need to show by our actions in building a safe, educated nation in which there is real justice and equal opportunities, that we are worthy of being called an independent nation before we try to follow in the footsteps of Barbados. The National Democratic Movement, NDM, agrees, as a matter of principle, that Jamaica should become a republic one day, and in so doing, replace the British Queen with our own head of state. However, it may not be with the same agenda as those connected to the Jamaica Labour Party and People's National Party, who have used the power vested in them on behalf of the people of Jamaica, mainly to benefit their parties and a genetically connected few. Transitioning to a republic should not be merely about replacing a foreign ceremonial figurehead with a local one. It should be about more fundamental constitutional reforms, changing to or creating a more functional system of government which can better engender a stricter system of accountability and transparency, rather than one which relies heavily on the reasonableness and unreasonable people. The system of government proposed by the National Democratic Movement is one with an executive head of state rather than a ceremonial one as per the Barbadian and Trinidadian approach, and makes the Governor General the President instead of being the monarch representative, with the same Westminster-style parliamentary system in place. Under the executive-style republic proposed by the NDM, the Prime Minister should be directly elected as a separate ballot from members of Parliament, and to endanger greater transparency and accountability, we should go for strict separation of powers, whereby members of Parliament will not be members of the Cabinet. All ministerial nominees of the Cabinet and all heads of government agencies and critical board appointees would have to be confirmed before a parliamentary hearing prior to being duly appointed to their positions. The reforms should also include term limits and a fixed election date for good measure. Under the current Westminster model, the Prime Minister is vested with awesome power, but inadequate checks and balances to prevent the overreach or abuse of such power. Removing the Queen and replacing her with a local figurehead president will not check the Prime Minister's unfettered power. In 1962, when we gained political independence from Britain, our founding fathers in the JLP and PNP chose to make Parliament sovereign, instead the people. Notwithstanding that many strides we had made as a nation, many dealings and decisions made over the years by these two parties have not been in the best interest of the Jamaican people, which have caused us to be where we are today, struggling economy, high level of uneducation, social decadence, high crime rate, with the horrible distinction of being the third most murderous country in the world, lawlessness, high corruption, and poverty. Should we trust these two old political parties to make the decision for us with regards to becoming a republic? I say no. It should be put to the people in a referendum or some other medium which could run concurrently with the next local government or general election. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.